All right, guys, we're back here again with our album review series of Ozzy Osbourne. We got a special guest here, my younger brother, who's a big metal fan. He has a YouTube page of his own you can check out. Go ahead and introduce yourself there, man.
My name's Chandler, and I got a YouTube page you can also check out at Chandler Ward. It's under straight out of the 80s and 90s. And just here to talk about one of my favorite Ozzy albums, Black Rain. Came out in 2007. It's one of my really underrated albums.
And it was very fitting that he came down to visit for at this time of this album. He loves this album. It's one of his favorites. But I do like it. And we'll go ahead and open it up with Not Going Away. Hell of an opening track. As you've seen throughout this review series, Ozzy always has them kicking the gear openers. You know what I'm talking about? Miracle Man, Ultimate Sin. He always has those going on. And I will go ahead and say the production on this, I'm not the biggest fan of. Zakk Wylde's guitar, it's a little too fuzzy and a little too distorted for me.
Yeah, he does squeal a lot.
He does on this one. Yeah. And the bass is a little too, I think the high end of the bass is a little too high, actually. But, I mean, it doesn't take away from the record enough to make me hate it or anything. And when you're going through these two, like I'm doing,
it's a breath of fresh air.
After Undercover, it was, dude.
It's honestly because you hear that and you're like, oh my god, Ozzy has a great album again.
And I liked this a lot better than I had in previous rankings. You know where I've put it before. So I was actually like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I remember some of the tracks. But anyways, you've got the big hit off here that's kind of become like a modern classic of sorts with "I Don't Want to Stop."
Yeah.
That's one people
honestly,
know.
The lyrics in it are really good too.
Yeah. Too many religions and only one God. Like that's just, and Ollie's voice sounds incredible on here. Man, it's a drastic difference between like if you hear his voice on like his latest record and this one. Like he was still real healthy on this album, and you could really he could hit some notes. And then we've got a track number 3, Black Rain, which is really cool. Kind of talks about like military and corruption and stuff like that. Really cool chorus.
That's also one of my least favorites off there. Honestly,
really? It kind of has become that for me, but I'll get to it. You know what I'm talking about whenever I talk about a track that sounds a little too similar to it. But then you have one of my favorite Ozzy ballads in his entire discography, Lay Your World on Me.
Oh,
it's kind of got a dark vibe going on.
I love that song. That's a great song.
And this is also one of his heaviest albums in his discography, I think. So that's what's
very dark.
Yeah. And that's why it's crazy that it's like,
especially if you're looking at the album when you're listening to it.
That's how I do it, and it kind of fits the whole vibe on the cover. But isn't that crazy? It's like on one of his heaviest albums, he has one of his best ballads. Yeah, it's like man, but very powerful lyrics on that thing. Then we have, oh my God, this might be the best one off here, The Almighty Dollar.
That is my favorite track off that.
And hey, it's got some like different time changes and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like going on, a little proggy, and it's kind of an epic on here.
Yeah, and it's very well put together.
The lyrics,
chorus is just kicks
right in. Dude. The lyrics are incredible on this thing. I absolutely adore that track. That is if you want to check out even just one song off here, that's one I would throw at. That's probably my favorite off here. Then you have kind of an underrated track, and I kind of forgot about it. But 11 Silver is pretty good, kind of anthemic.
I like that, yeah.
That one's kind of got that.
At first, it was one of the ones I had forgotten about.
Me too.
And I was like, I need to listen to that again.
It's kind of anthemic. Like you could see that at like a concert, them being like, cheering that one on. Then we have Civilized Universe, which is pretty good. Yeah. That one's not one of my favorite
ones.
Yeah, it's like but it's kind of a filler track, but it's still good.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a problem on the album. Then we have another ballad that I forgot about, but my God, it hit me again with Shocking Me, Here For You. The verses in that, I forgot how awesome those were. And again, Ozzy's vocals, in particular on this song, he was hitting some notes. I'm like, man. And I could hear that song being on like an osmosis for like a ballad.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like 2007 is when it came out, and it's like compare it to like Ordinary Man.
Which was like weirdly enough, 13 years later?
I know. It's like wow.
Then we have another one that's probably one of my favorites. Countdown's Begun.
That's one of the best tracks for sure.
But we got to talk about the problem. with Black Rain in that one.
Yeah, but it's like take your pick there.
It really
yeah,
is.
It's like
they're very
Countdown
similar.
to Begun is definitely better.
Absolutely, the chorus, like it's phonetically done so well. Ozzy, everybody knows his melodies are insane.
But I mean, I'm not really gonna down the album for that because like there's several like major bands that like I've listened to and like they have some albums where there's a cut like. Maybe Kiss on Crazy Nights. There's
a couple on there like that. Well, and I do like the song Black Rain.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely dig that song. But Countdown's Begun, I think, is a better song, and it really, especially during the intro and the verses, like sometimes, like someone could play Black Rain, and during that intro, I might think it's Countdown Begun. Like it's that serious.
That might be true.
Then you have, this is actually my least favorite on here, is Trapdoor.
I like it.
I was not a big fan of that closing track. I think they should have closed with Countdown's Begun.
That would make sense.
Or Here For You.
I mean,
I think Trapdoor could have been left off this album and they could have put on one of the albums that was left off, like Nightmare. If you've never listened to some of the unreleased tracks on this thing, they're better than a lot of the ones on it. You haven't?
No.
I'll have to show you after this because you're going to be blown away. The Black Rain sessions were pretty killer. But,
So if they were on oh no, I think I have heard those.
I think I sent you the link.
Because if they were on here, that album would definitely be even more.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have trouble with it and Scream.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's another great album, which we'll be looking at next time with another lineup change. You got Gus G on guitar. And, people, there's a lot of complaints about this one saying it sounds like a Black Label Society record.
That's totally not true.
Well,
I don't think
here's the thing. I mean, if Zakk Wylde's your guitar player, and Zakk Wylde's heavily influenced by Ozzy and Black Sabbath, if anything, you could say Black Label Society sounds like an Ozzy record.
But you can definitely differentiate when Zakk Wylde's singing and Ozzy singing.
For sure. And I love Black Label Society.
Oh,
I've listened to several of their albums now, and I like them.
They're awesome.
But, so I don't really agree with that being being an issue with the album.
Mm.
I mean, it's an Ozzy album through and through. You can hear his, there's no Zakk songs singing on any Ozzy album. So, But yeah, guys, we're almost done with this Ozzy album review series. We've got 2 more. We've got one in 2010, and then we got one in 2020. And of course, Ozzy's coming out with his new record. I doubt it's going to be out by the time we get to that point, but I'll end up adding it in, or whenever I review that, I'll let you know where it ranks and all that. But yeah, I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts on this. Kind of a controversial record in his discography. But yeah, give it a like. I'll put a link to his channel in the description there. And thanks guys for watching.